who better than me?
Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Bass the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, send the notifications out to friends, colleagues, family members, you know, all that good stuff. I had a few days away. I was trying to let a couple of the old videos breathe, just get a bit more views on those, but stuff's happened, things to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into it. No sooner did I put out the last episode talking about whether or not Devin Haney would take the Kambosos deal under the agreement that was in place for Top Rank, the multiple fight deal, having the 2 fights in Australia and the 3rd fight, you know, under Top Rank, all supposedly at 135. Would he be able to do that and stay at that weight for those 3 fights and all of that? I mean, he signed the deal pretty much about an hour after I'd uploaded the video. So yeah, it was great timing. That being said, look, I mean, I've got nothing but respect for Devin Haney and what he's trying to be and what he's trying to accomplish. I think he's been given a really raw deal over the last few years, and while I don't know how that fight's going to end up going for him, especially, you know, in the land down under, I'm going to wait a little closer to sort of fight week. I think it's, what is it, June 4th and June 5th. I'm going to wait until fight week before I kind of make any bold predictions and sort of any breakdowns and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, I just gotta give the young kid credit, because there's not a lot of people that would have, you know, taken the deal, which was, look, if we're going to be real, it's as Barry Hearn would have called it, it's a slave contract. Luckily, it's only a number of fights and not a number of years, is what you would normally get in a Top Rank type deal. So yeah, I mean, no one can question his heart now, saying, oh, he's always talking about being avoided, but he's not taking the fights, or he's asking for too much money, he's asking for this, he's asking for that. Well, ultimately, he said, I'll take the same deal Loma got, and he's been true to his word. They had the announcement press conference at the start of the week. I think it was Saturday or Sunday, just gone. Those things are never like the easiest to watch when you got someone coming in from via satellite, because there's always a delay. It takes, after the questions asked, like, you get sort of a 3, 4, 5 second pause before you get a response. And so obviously when the two of them are now doing their kind of back and forth, where Haney's arguing with Kambosos, like, it looks wonky. So I hate those kind of press conferences. I'd rather either you're both there or just one person's there, and you just, you know, you deal with it that way. But I think he said he's gonna go to Australia a month out, so we're in April now, so I guess the start of May, he's gonna go over there to make sure his body fully acclimatizes to the you know, sort of to the climate, the weather, the food, because, you know, I'm assuming it's all going to be slightly different, you know, the different levels of preservatives or freshness and stuff. So yeah, that's all got to be something that's worked out. And I wish him all the best. And if he wins, he's got to go and do it all again in the exact same place. So that will be interesting also. But I mean, it goes to show the level of confidence and belief that he's got to actually take that challenge and go so far away from home, which would tell you that for the best of the best, like, realistically, when they believe that they're the best, or they believe that someone is not on their level, they will travel. And it's definitely not about a paycheck, because he definitely could have made a lot more money fighting and anyone else on his own at this point. I've been told some inside numbers on what the deal is he's got with Top Rank compared to his last couple fights with DAZN, and yeah, he's definitely taking a pay cut. Pay-per-view upside in Australia or not, there's a quite substantial pay cut there, but he wants legacy for now. I guess money will come later. So yeah, gotta rate him on that. And as for Kambosos, he's doing what he needs to do as well. He's selling the fight. He's confident. Like, I feel like he's talking a bit out of character from what he was prior to the Lopez win. But you know what? Again, I can't question his heart because he wanted Lomachenko. Whether that's because he thought Lomachenko might now be a bit faded in his skills and abilities compared to what he was, or he just thought, he may have thought that was just a more action-packed fight, but but whatever the reason may be for that, you know, you gotta give him credit as well, because he's clearly about that life. So let's see if the Emperor can, you know, maintain his kingdom. I guess I'll touch on it quickly. Off of the back of Savannah Marshall's victory against Femke Hermans over the weekend on Saturday, you've had several different stories come out. I think Claressa Shields said that basically she rated Savannah's win, or performance I should say, as a D. She said like the first 2 rounds she was basically garbage, and then she landed not a lucky shot, but you know, Peter gave her an instruction: put your hands up, walk forward, you know, land a shot on her essentially, and then Femke ended up with her chin in the air, taking that left hook and went down. And you know, Shields was like, well look, I hope she hits me with the same left hook, because when I take it and I don't go down, like, you know, you're gonna see the truth and I'm just gonna dominate as usual. Now, I feel like there's a level of delusion in every great boxer. Like, you have to be delusional to wanna get punched in your head for a living, or punch other people and believe that like you're not gonna get anything back ultimately. But this is the same girl that got dropped by Hannah Gabriels like 4 years ago, who was a 154 pounder that came up to 160 to fight you. But you think that you gonna take the power of a Savannah Marshall who brings herself down from like 190 pounds if she lands on you? Well, we've already seen that she's been knocking out people of the same size as you. Some of them, yes, have been smaller. They haven't been the greatest of opponents, and I'm not taking any of that away from Claressa. She has definitely fought the better quality opponents, the better operators, but she's not fought someone with Savannah's power. Probably not fought someone with the fighting style that Savannah has, like as a pro either. And if you get dropped by Hannah Gabriels, who's no great puncher, like she's got power, but she's no great puncher, and you got dropped in a trade and an exchange. Now, do you not think that you're going to end up in an exchange with Savannah as well? Now, I'm not saying that Claressa can't outbox her, can't beat her, can't even maybe dominate a fight and sort of beat her up and, you know, just win that in that way. But to act as if you're going to just be able to take this power from her like it's nothing, when lesser girls have dropped you, it's borderline, yeah, that's borderline delusional crazy. Like that's asylum seeker settings right there. Now look, I will never hide the fact that I'm not the biggest Claressa Shields fan. Never have been. And I believe obviously a lot of what she's done in the weights that she's campaigned in is purely because there isn't that great a talent pool in the 160, 168, sort of 154 pound division. Like, you know, there's not a huge amount. If we're gonna keep it real, like from heavyweight, as the women's heavyweight, to down to like 154, there's not a huge pool there. So yeah, you got the odd occasional good person, and she's done what you have to do. I guess you beat who's in front of you. All credit to her. You know, free weight champion, 2-weight undisputed. Like, it looks good. When you delve a bit deeper, you know, it doesn't stack up as well as maybe some of the other women who have only been undisputed in one, or just maybe a couple weight champion in a couple of the lower weights, where most women campaign, just being naturally smaller people. But yeah, Claressa has this very big delusion of being a power puncher, and she can punch. Like, she hasn't transitioned out of her amateur style. Like, she fights in the pros like she's still in the amateurs, and that's something that, against someone who actually fights a pro style, will probably get her very badly hurt if she doesn't remain switched on. Now, also talking about that, she says that she wants to fight in London as opposed to Newcastle. Now, I'm gonna keep it real, and I know that a lot of the time some of what we say isn't necessarily boxing related and doesn't really belong in boxing, but the reason she doesn't want it in Newcastle, outside of obviously that being you know, Savannah Marshall's neck of the woods, with her being from Hartlepool and whatever, but she wants it in London because, to her, London is more black people. Like, in America, they're very tribalistic. They can be a bit more xenophobic in that way. It's like America over everything, but then you get the second denomination of like, oh well, black people are going to ride with black people, the Italians are going to ride with the Italians, the Irish with that. It's very much that. So she probably went to Hartlepool, went to Newcastle, saw that there ain't a lot of black people up there, so she's going to get literally bombarded with boos and maybe stuff thrown at her, like loads and loads of abuse, like maybe, you know, to her some colorful racial language she might be expecting or thinking is going to happen. Whereas you come to London, she's been here several times, she sees more black faces, and she's going to equate that with having people on her side, because that's a very American mentality. But unfortunately in the UK, yes, while we kind of sometimes you do have a bit of that camaraderie, we're very much more nationalistic. So there will be a bunch of people that will still be looking at it like, well, even as black people, she's British, we're British, so we're riding with her. Yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those uncomfortable conversations that some people don't want to have. But me, I mean, look, I'm a small channel. I can say what I want and what I believe, and I know that that's primarily one of the reasons why she's looking to have the fight in what she calls the neutral venue. And look, to be fair, I'll give her a dues, because look, she's already traveling half the way across the world to do the fight anyway. So the least I guess you could do is say, well, give her something. But the money for this fight is in the north. Even if they travel down, you're not going to get as many of them travel down to London as, you know, could go in attendance in a big, maybe even like one of the small football stadiums out there, or, you know, one of the sort of the bigger arenas. You bring it down here, yeah, some will travel down, but it might end up being more of a spectacle show as opposed to a, you know, like a support and, you know, big crowds and big noise and whatnot. But I don't know what they're gonna do. To be honest, it kind of feels like some of what's been happening, she's gonna find a way to not necessarily pull out, but gonna stall the fight, or try and find ways to you know, to not have the fight happen. I mean, it was on her side a lot of the delay tactics when Savannah was with Matchroom before, when she was asking for sort of ridiculous money for the fight and all those kind of things there. So I wouldn't be surprised if the fight either doesn't happen next or takes a very long time to sort of, you know, finally get made. I would definitely say she's a little bit rattled in this situation, but she's always been emotional and sort of in that vein. So maybe the emotion won't affect her as much as some people believe, because that's just been her character. But yeah, let me sort of come off of that topic a little bit now, and there's always something else to talk about, right? So let's get into it.